Welcome! In this video, we will be going over the check-in system and how to set it up. We will also be demoing the check-in system so you can get a great idea of how it can be used within your church and your children's ministry. The first thing that we want to do is make sure that we have all of our printers and drivers and everything set up. To do so, please refer to our previous video, which covers setting up the printers and drivers and applications associated with check-in. After we have all of that set up, the very first thing that we need to do is create groups to be available for check-in. In this system, we use groups for classes, for Sunday schools, for small groups, all those different types of things. So what we want to do first for children's check-in is create a group that is a particular classroom. To do so, we would click on Groups, and then we would click on Add. We don't need to really worry about putting in a leader or description or address, anything like that, since this is just a children's class. So once we get down to the bottom, we would simply click on the appropriate checkboxes to make it available for check-in and attendance. In this case, it would be the individual attendance checkbox as well as the Use for Child Check-in checkbox. Once we're done, we would simply click on Save. Then we can go ahead and add any other groups or classes that we need to. For example, we could do a second nursery group, we could do a first grade class, a second grade class, and so on. After you've created your groups, you can go ahead and start using check-in. However, if you want to assign people or children to particular classes, like that nursery class we created, you can do so by going to Individuals, and you can either edit an individual to add them to that group, or in this case, we'll go ahead and add a new individual. We'll add a new child. And when we add this child, we can see down at the bottom that there is the option to add them to a group. When we click on the Add tab, we see a list of our groups. We can scroll down to that nursery group we created and click on Save. Now what that will do is make so that when we check in Jimmy, the first option that will show up is that nursery group that he's a part of, as we'll see later on in this video. After we've added Jimmy and added him to the group, we next need to add him to a particular family. We do this by clicking on the Family tab, and then we can search for a particular family. In this case, we'll search for the Yoder family and add him to Scott Yoder as his son. Now that we have our groups set up and children assigned to those particular groups, we can go ahead and start our check-in process. To start up check-in, simply go to the Utilities menu and then click on the Child Check-in tab. You can run check-in within the system, or you can select to launch it in kiosk mode, which we have done here. Once in kiosk mode, you would simply select the station that you're running, whether it's a main station or nursery station or something like that, and then you would launch the printer application. After you've launched the printer application, you would then go ahead and click on Next. Now you are in the child check-in system. All you will need to do is search for a family. In this case, we'll search for the Yoder family, and we'll go ahead and select Scott, and we can see all of the different family members in this Yoder family. And we see here the Jimmy Yoder that was just added. Once we select him, we see that that group, that nursery 0 to 6 months group, is brought up first. We can check him into that group and click Go. We can also edit the amount of labels we want to print and then hit Submit. And then the child will be checked in. If you have a first-time visitor come to your church that's checking in their children, you can quickly and easily add that new family by clicking on the First-Time Visitor Add Your Family button. This will take you through a few steps to add some contact information, but it does also give you an option to add some additional information. On the next page, you will be given the option to add the child's information. You can also add any kind of badge notes that will show up on their badge printed out. For example, if they're allergic to peanuts or anything like that. You will also have the option to add another child at that point, but in this case, we'll go ahead and move on and then we can select the group for this particular child. We're going to go ahead and add them to our new group that we just created. And then we would just click on check-in. From that point, the badges are printed and you should be good to go. If you do have a first-time guest that uses the check-in, a lot of churches would want to capture that information. With our system, you can set up a specific group for all of those first-time guests to be automatically going into. To do so, you would go to the settings menu and then click on Child Check-in and then Check-in Mode. Under the check-in mode options, you would have the availability to enable new people to be created from child check-in. You can toggle that on and off, and you can place them into a specific group by selecting one from the drop-down menu. Once you're done, click Save, and any new people from check-in will be added to that group that you selected. So that is a quick tutorial of how to run the check-in system with the web-based application as well as a kiosk mode. Our next video will be a tutorial on how to run check-in with the iPad application. Thank you for your time.